What do you think of when you hear the word mental health?
Like right now, it's kind of sensationalized. Mental health is a very real thing that could be at play. Most people would have experienced what I experienced. They would probably kill their significant other. So somehow her phone ends up in your lap and you see a couple text messages to Dom and, you know,
Damn, that's crazy.
Not me, brother. Not me, brother.
Like, I'm on future timing forever, like.
and you have a legal plea where you could plead insanity. Shit happens all the time. It's nothing new.
Me, how are you mixing this music with your whole therapy and mental health awareness?
Cliff and I are actually working together on a mix called The Tour.
Shout out, Cliff.
It symbolizes kind of me living on the road, this entire experience, encapsulating the workout piece with his music. It's supposed to come out Black Friday. Of course, I'll let you guys know.
Looking like money. Okay. And we're off. We're back to Quotables. You know what I'm saying? What season is this?
It's still season 2.
It is?
Just like, yeah, it's like the different segment of season 2.
I'll be
Stacking
down.
up episodes, man.
Hey, stacking up episodes. That's what I like to see. The beauty of this show, podcast, whatever you want to call it, is, you know, we get to talk about the things that we want to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I like it. We can come in, we can talk about anything we want to talk about. Like, whatever's on our mind. So this time, we want to center the episode around mental health awareness, Black men, and just men in general. So, what do you think? What do you think of when you hear the word mental health?
You know, I won't lie to you. I feel like it's been oversaturated, because I think we've always gone through like this idea of like trying to keep your mental straight, but I think now it's like forced upon us. Now I feel like anytime I'm like got seasonal depression, now I got mental health issues or some shit.
Yeah.
And then that make me not want to talk about it more. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I'm not about to air out my feelings just because like it's cloudy today or some shit.
Yeah. I think, you know, the fire thing is that this show became like therapy in itself.
Yeah.
So that's what we're gonna do today, right? We're gonna have a therapy session with some, you know, successful Black men. We have a friend in the house, Gary Brown. He's gonna join the conversation. We all have, you know, backstories. We have things we've been through that, you know, I think would be great to talk about in this platform, and just, you know, get things off our chest. That's how this started in the first place. Was we wanted to get things off our chest. Because we really didn't care what people think, because we felt like it was level-headed to just, you know, go over how we feel.
Yeah.
And it became a lot more fun than that. So I want to, you know, introduce Gary Brown and, you know, just have a real conversation. What do you think about when mental health, you hear the word mental health?
So a little bit of what Don was saying as well. Like right now, it's kind of sensationalized.
Yeah. Good word.
And it's to the point where people will look at it like it's a trend. But the reality of it is, given some of the things that you'll go through in life, like depending on your level of emotional intelligence, mental health is a very real thing that could be at play with how you are able to thrive and function through whatever event could occur in your life. And then also too, you could look at your upbringing as something that'll play a role in how you can navigate and maybe thrive through a cataclysmic event. But yeah, mental health is very real and something that should be taken super serious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking
I
of
agree.
How are you?
I'm good. Yeah, that's how we should probably start it off. How we doing?
That's how we
No, bro,
like
I'm straight,
to,
bro. I love LA. Like, I'm happy to be out here.
How long have you been out here, like knowing you're here for good?
So honestly, I've been living out here the last 2 years. I'm 90% remote with what I do full time.
Nice. That's a blessing.
So it put me in a place where I was supporting my family and making sure my family was like acclimated to the area, while still being able to do what I do. You know what I'm saying? So I really developed a love for LA, SoCal specifically. Did a little bit of time up in NorCal as well. And I'm into tech. So of course, you know, like being
Perfect
up near
space.
Silicon Valley, seeing all the modernized technological innovation in everything. That shit was awesome. But I'm based out of DC.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool.
Yeah, based out of DC, have a house in Atlanta. And yeah, I'm kind of back in the DMV at this moment, like technically.
So how often do you bounce back and forth?
Bro, this is my first time back since like January. And honestly, I was sitting up in Bake's high rise today, just thinking to myself, like, maybe, it's time for me to pivot and just make this home for good.
A high rise will do that to you.
Yeah, you start, it's a big rich town, sipping on songs, just looking off the highway. It'll do that.
Yeah.
It'll do that. That's kind of what got me, visiting LA and just seeing what's possible. And I'm like, I kind of like this. But I feel like there's a pipeline from DMV to LA. Like
Peeping that.
when I came out here first year, I started to realize like, I keep meeting someone from the DMV, specifically Maryland, DC.
We produce great.
Like every time I go out and about, I'm like, this shit is crazy. Like I wasn't mad at it, but I'm like, I did come to LA to meet people not from the DMV. Like, I can't.
It's mad at y'all for real. Yeah.
Nah, I mean, they be doing the beach parties. I don't know if you've been to one, but they be doing, they randomly have beach parties and it be go-go's and shit. That's how many out here. Like,
I know the culture. Look, y'all know something.
Yeah.
But no, speaking of LA too, like, and the beach,
mm-hmm.
given some of the things that I was going through the last couple years, looking back at it,
Mm-hmm.
kind of helped me balance out my mental health in a lot of ways.
Nice.
Like, I began to work out excessively. And because, you're here, my gym was in Irvine. I can literally leave the gym and go to the beach.
Yeah.
And just like relax my mind.
Yeah.
Just crazy.
Yeah. So the water does something. I'm somebody that needs to be around water as well.
Right.
It does something for me. So let me ask, in terms of your mental health journey, it feels like to me you're, well along your way on that journey. But when did it start? What was that moment where you was like, and I feel like every Black man, if they haven't, will go through it, where a moment hits where they realize they have to, take that time to learn themselves,
Mhm.
and figure out how to either get rid of or, harness certain bad traits that you may have gotten growing up. So what happened in your journey to make you really want to get heavy on the mental health and all of that stuff?
Man, I had a loved one who I've known for almost 10 years
Mm-hmm.
basically betray, our trust, our connection.
Mm-hmm.
And I never saw it coming. And I won't be super specific with titles and whatnot, but even that person was struggling with mental health. So I've learned as a result of that to give that person grace.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what really set it off. And this stuff all started around like early last year, at least when it was brought to my attention.
Mm-hmm.
And given like the level of the betrayal, it sent me into shock. I was just like, I never would have seen this coming. Couldn't even conceptualize it as a possibility.
Yeah.
And it just so happened I had read the book Emotional Intelligence in 2022. And it already began to balance me out and almost expand my mindset around the possibilities of being able to handle these kinds of events in a very seasoned way, right? And then it helped me connect the dots with what I observed growing up in my household. My parents have been married for like 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I always got to observe conflict resolution in a very pragmatic way. So for the first time ever, I was having to like leverage conflict resolution skills in a pragmatic way in my own life. But what I didn't know is given the nature of this kind of betrayal and how it was going to transform my life, I was probably going to need some therapy too. So,
Yeah.
But I'm sure we'll get into that whole piece.
Yeah.
Yeah. What, because we've all gone through something. What was that like, the first step? So you have this thing happen, but did you know that first step based on your teachings or based on your past, or did you explore?
Nope, didn't know the first step,
Yeah.
like with full clarity. And then when the shock hits you, the only thing you kind of do is put one foot forward out of circumstance, right? It's not until the smoke begins to clear, you can really say, okay, I'm probably going to need professional help outside of some of the natural, techniques that I'm able to leverage. But I will say too, there were these other things happening that help strengthen my posture,
Mhm.
right? Like if most people would have experienced what I experienced, you could just kind of look at the data and see that like they would probably kill their significant other,
Mhm.
and you have a legal plea where you could plead insanity. Shit happens all the time. It's nothing new,
Mhm.
right? Or they would resort to other things where they would kind of just damage themselves, right? Like drugs, drinking. And that's why I don't drink. Like, so I used to drink. I'm a normal dude. You know what I'm saying? But
No,
like,
trust me, we get it, bro.
in these moments, it's things like that that help me keep my sanity. You know what I'm saying? Because I needed a clear mind.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that's well said. You're very well spoken on the topic.
Oh,
so that
deep.
tells me, like I said, you've been on this journey, I can tell, and it's not just starting. But I do feel like for a lot of men, and maybe black men, but I feel like just men in general, it starts with that love thing. It could be love in any form, but love is really like some like some toxic drug that once it gets tainted, bro, that shit really could like it turn you into somebody you
Turn
never
you into
thought you
Future.
were. Yeah, man. Like you really you learn a lot about yourself on the other side of that for sure.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, Future, I even feel like in his life, he moves how he is because he got his heart broke, and then he's like, all right, I'm on Future timing forever, like forever.
You don't realize how far back it goes too. Like whatever your situation was, you mentioned like your parents had dealt with things in a like pretty healthy way. So when something wasn't healthy, how much of like you break down, you're like, damn, this should be a representation of what I already know. And if it's not, then you start to feel a little off. So like somebody like Future we make fun of, but like his childhood was probably shit. Like how
Yeah.
he dealt with his mom, like that's the first love you know as a woman.
Yeah.
So like if that's not healthy, then what do the other relationships look like?
Yeah. You make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
You touched on the whole gym aspect as well, in terms of mental health and things like that. And I agree. I work out every day. And it's one reason for physical fitness, but two, because like we was talking about before the show, you just feel good like after a workout. But having gone through some things, what I noticed is not a cure to some, when you really hurting or you really like your mental health isn't where you want it to be. Working out will probably make you feel good for an hour or two. Then it like that's not even a third of the day.
Yep.
So you definitely need other outlets. So for you, what were some of the outlets that you found outside of just the gym and working out?
You broke that shit down perfectly because I was hiding in the gym. That was my trauma response initially, right? Was to just, I'm going to work it out, and work it off, and that's going to solve the problem. And it didn't, right? Because ultimately weights, a dumbbell, and then the motion can be therapeutic.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously it helped with like my physical aesthetic. I dropped a lot of weight, got back in shape. I'm in my late 30s. I look 20 again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the stuff that's going on up here and that's going on in here that matters the most. That's when I realized I still needed to seek professional help. So along the way, doing things instinctively, right? We talked about that putting one foot forward out of circumstance piece.
Mm-hmm.
Like you realize that you're still kind of broken.
Mm-hmm.
And in order to be made whole, you may need an external perspective to help you contextualize things the right way.
For sure. I think that's the biggest thing about therapy. And me personally, I haven't started taking therapy, but I've looked at my options and I definitely plan on it. But I think the biggest thing is, like you said, allowing somebody else to kind of hear what you're going through and contextualize it, because they may notice some things that you're not noticing. Like, and it's hard to even wrap your brain around. Like, I'm not noticing how I'm not going to notice something about my own life.
Right.
But no, really, that's how it works. They'll tell you something and you be like, damn.
And somebody not biased.
There you go.
Yeah.
You talk to
Completely
your
objective
friends, like-
perspective.
Yeah, your friends is not going to work.
No, they got a bias.
you- like,
they always
you
have your
almost-
back.
You almost know what to expect from each friend that you would talk to about anything. You're like, I know if I hit him and say this, he gonna tell me
He gonna say something in
he
that
gonna
lane.
troll or some shit.
Yeah.
He gonna, oh yeah, you gotta crash out, and you don't need to hear that. Yeah, yo, you better crash out. Like, no, I don't want to hear that right now. my other friend, he, you know what I'm saying, he gonna brush it off like it's nothing. Oh, you good, you be good tomorrow. Nah, it's something. I'm trying to.
Yeah.
So
Like I'm going through something right now, nigga.
Yeah.
Like
so it's definitely the friends only get you so far. So let me ask, what if you don't mind me asking, you said you're 38 or you're late 30s?
I'm 36. I turned
Okay.
37 on Halloween.
Damn.
Yo,
Okay,
this
it's
is
coming
crazy
up.
too, because like some people be like, "Nigga, you cannot possibly be." I'm like, yo, I am. I'm 36.
Okay,
you
fine.
vegan, bro?
Nah, hell, I still eat regular diet, but like the intermittent fasting
Okay.
and the no alcohol saves my ass. Like,
Okay.
yeah.
Write that down. Write that down. Words from a wise man. So I asked that because we just turned 30, right? And I feel like something I've noticed and I've seen online talked about now a lot is that around that 28 to 30 age frame, a lot changes, I feel like, in terms of your friend groups, how you feel about yourself, the direction you may want to go in life. And it just all hits at once. You know, you got friends getting married, you got other friends having kids, you got other friends doing some other wild shit, and you're like, you know, you're 28 and 30, feel like it all happens at once.
Mhm.
And that's what I've seen online about, you know, men's mental health deteriorating, and it starts to go downhill around that age frame because of those reasons. So did you notice a difference around that age frame? We also had older people when we were younger tell us like when you hit 30, like shit's gonna change, and they couldn't really tell us how, but they like just pay attention.
So there's a lot of truth in that. And then firsthand for me, I definitely hit it, right? I understand it. And I will say, given what I experienced, always make a conscious effort to keep your friends, right? Like your male social groups, friend groups or whatever. Obviously, the relationship dynamic could change if you end up in a serious relationship, married, engaged. But even still, like you never know how those things are going to play out. And you'll still always need your friends, especially when things can get real dark, right? The last thing you want to do is find yourself completely isolated. So yeah, it's definitely real, but still make that effort.
Who's been that solid force for you?
Oh my God. I've got a solid friend group, undergrad, guys that I live with in undergrad, always kind of been there for me. I got a couple of close friends too that I've just always stayed in touch with. My boy Rob. My brother Greg is like my best friend. We're 10 months apart.
Damn.
I'm barely older than him.
Irish twins.
Yeah, there you go. Some wild shit. My parents, I don't know what the hell
It was getting
it
done.
was on, bro.
Yeah, it's a healthy relationship.
Yeah, there you go, right? So no, yeah, like I've always kept my friends, you know what I'm saying, my friend groups intact, and I've always stayed close to them. But when things like this happen in your life, on top of needing, you know, to keep a tight relationship with God and seeking professional help in the form of therapy, you're gonna need your friends. Yeah.
What was that first therapy session like?
Nigga, surreal. I used to watch The Sopranos when I was a teenager. And you know, Tony had to go to therapy. And then if you go back like, I don't know, 10 years ago in pop culture, you know how we're saying it's trendy now?
Yeah.
Bro, therapy was not trendy 10 years ago.
No, not for us.
People would look at you like you were crazy if you mentioned therapy.
Yeah.
Should I have something happen to me 10 years ago? I had lost my college sweetheart unexpectedly. I was fucked up. I can curse, right?
Yeah,
Fucked
whatever
up.
you want.
Right? Like, and everybody around me was like, yeah, you probably need to go talk to somebody. And I'm like, talk to somebody? You know what I'm saying? What are you talking about? I'm not crazy.
Talk to who?
Yeah, who am I going to talk to? But no, I needed therapy then, for real. And I never got it. So 10 years later, 9 years later, when I ended up going through, you know what I'm saying, what I experienced, and then we're talking about now, once it became clear to me that I was going to need it, it was kind of surreal. And that first session was wild because the level of vulnerability you have to share with who is a complete stranger.
Yeah, that's
just to
crazy
get
part.
the context that you need and the understanding that you need, you know, can be kind of scary.
I feel like my first session I would be rambling like, and not to start, but once I start realizing like you need to know the whole story, I'd start where I'm at in life, and somehow I will end up talking about, all right, so when I was a kid, I
Had to. Your intake session is like that.
Okay.
We got to know your background. How did you grow up? What was your life like? What kind of school did you go to? What was your parents' relationship like?
Yeah.
That's how they do the intake.
Okay.
So they get that background and that context, historical context on your life.
Okay.
When you did that intake session, was there something like a blimp that you noticed in your past that you were like, fuck, like I never really addressed
my
it?
parents' healthy ass relationship that all my peers' parents would ask about and maybe even be semi-jealous of, I realized had almost to a reverse effect. Like it's healthy and it's a great relationship. I love my parents' marriage. I love my parents to death. But at the same time, me watching them and their healthy conflict resolution skills and their healthy commitment to one another and resolve to fight at all costs to sustain the marriage and sustain family.
Yeah.
Bro, that shit had me doing something like that when I probably should have ran. So it was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
That kind of had a reverse effect.
Yep.
But that's when you begin to realize too, like when y'all are out here, y'all are single?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
You not. Okay, look.
I am.
Okay, you single. So you out here talking to people, you know what I'm saying? Talking to your potential partners and whatnot. That's why they always tell you, like, make sure you get an idea of like how they grew up and what their
Yeah,
family
for sure.
structure was like to see if you all's upbringings align.
Yeah, that's
Because if
that's a big thing.
If it's a complete 180, right?
I don't date a shorty that grew up in a split household. I had that rule because I grew up like that.
Yeah.
And when I've done therapy, maybe like once or like maybe 3 sessions, I noticed that I really like my childhood, but I need the group dynamic. Like I need it for myself because I realized like I'm just a product of luck. Cause like I could have easily slipped off. Like nobody's really monitoring what I'm doing, whatever.
Feel you.
I'm like, so I need to know that she at least knows that. So when we do it, I'm not just like guessing. I'm not figuring shit out on the fly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So now you understand the significance of that. I didn't understand the significance of that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And I agree, like exactly with what you said, because it's funny hearing, but I grew up the same way. My parents still together. I can't even count the amount of years. It's a lot of years. And I'm the youngest, so they had 2 other kids before me. But I grew up as seeing the same things you saw. My parents were the role model parents. They stuck together through everything. Other parents giving me compliments on my parents and shit, like every now and then. Like, your parents, like, man, they gave me some tips. Like, I don't know how they do it. Like, they're just so happy. So I was that kid. Like, damn, okay, this a healthy relationship. And I saw the trials and tribulations, and I saw them get over it. So I'm like, okay, so
that's how you do things.
Yeah, exactly.
How you do it.
So now how I always seen things was, if you're in a relationship, you talk it out, you figure it out, and you get over it. Like, just like if y'all fuck with each other, just figure it out and get over it. And that's like I don't see any other options. So it definitely, I think what I noticed was I think it affected me in a way where my tolerance is low for when somebody isn't in that, like when they're not trying to figure it out. They don't know how to do those things, so they crash out, or they break up, or they're like this. They do the negative thing.
Yeah.
And I just take that the wrong way, and I never understand it. Like my brain can't comprehend not just being able to hash something out. So that it ended up being a flaw rather than a good thing. It ended up being a flaw.
It can work against you.
Yeah, it went against me. And like you said, doing things maybe you shouldn't be doing for certain people, where you're like, you should just give up on this relationship. But you're like, no, we could work through anything. That's how I feel. Like, so now I feel you wholeheartedly on that for sure.
Could I ask, outside of the gym, outside of therapy, can you give me a black man must have?
Read. Read. And don't even read things that fascinate you. Read everything. Read everything. Why? Because it expands your imagination. It broadens your vocabulary, right? It helps you with your conversation skills. Ultimately, this makes you a better human. Read like it's no tomorrow, especially now that like books are out of style and everybody's just on their phone. It's like, what the hell?
Yeah, I think it's that's huge for sure, 100%. And it's looked over by many because it's a different era, but that's the number one tip I done heard from successful people at the end of the day is reading is where you're gonna learn the most for sure. It's where I learned a lot. Let me think. Black man must have that I haven't used before. You got one? Off the top?
Yeah, I gotta switch my life insurance. I thought that was important. I did this thing when I
Geico? You switching over to Geico, whatever the commercial did.
dude, I think AAA. Maybe I might go to Geico. That's a good idea. I did this thing when I was 30. I'm real big on like legacy because I don't come from anything. So I did like a kind of like this therapy life recording with some videographers I know. I just sat down, had somebody ask me questions, and we just like went through my whole life. So I was like, what if I just die tomorrow? You know, like what record? I mean, obviously you have social media and shit, but like the full raw story of yourself. And I've been meaning to switch my insurance. I switched jobs, so I feel like that's a black man must have. You don't know what's gonna happen, bro.
Like life insurance.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
It is important. Yeah, it's a game changer.
Because, you don't want to, you know what I'm saying? Whole thing about that is you don't want to, you know what I'm saying, pass away. You still got debt. Somebody got to pay that debt. Somebody going to pay that debt. Like, you pass away, that money, that debt that you got on your credit cards and your loans they go to the next person in line.
Yeah, bro.
Somebody going to pay that. So,
Yeah.
it definitely gets you some life insurance so at least people can, if you do, have an untimely demise, people can at least enjoy you and be like, all right, like, I don't hate this nigga. This nigga they can let me with $100,000 debt. What
like,
the fuck is that?
Yo, imagine putting that shit on your mom or some shit, bro.
Yeah, like,
come on.
Yo,
surprise,
I'm up in heaven, like, damn, my bad, moms.
But he had everything in order, like.
Yeah,
I have everything ordered.
they be mad as hell. Like the last memory is like,
a bill.
damn, this nigga always been on this shit.
Nigga's Macy's card. Like, what the fuck is this?
Why was you spending so much?
Word, now they know all your info. They got random loans and shit coming in. Like, yo, this nigga has.
Damn, Matt OnlyFans
Nigga was
account.
No, and umbrella insurance too. So you start accruing your assets and whatnot. You don't want nobody come over your house and slip and fall, sue you.
That's a fact.
Niggas
Crazy.
be doing that.
What?
He's like, yeah, what?
Some umbrella insurance too. Yeah, bro. Yeah. It's cheap. Get it. Look into it.
All right. Yeah, no, I will. Yeah. Black man must have.
Nah, for sure.
Yeah.
I don't think I had one. I'm trying to think of something I ain't used, but yeah, I don't have one off the top of the dome because we done did this mad times. So I didn't use all the ones I could think of. But let me ask, emotional intelligence, right? So this is a buzzword. It's become a key word, a buzzword on social media and off social media. I feel like women started to use this a lot to, I don't even know what their motive is behind it, but I've heard friends ask me like, what? This chick asked me like, or said something about emotional intelligence. I don't know how to answer that question. I'm like, I don't know how to answer either. So what does emotional intelligence mean to you? Because I think I know what it means to them, but I really don't. Like, they be confused.
It means when a cataclysmic event happens in your life and you have to respond, that pause between reacting and thinking about the best possible response for both parties, right? If you're just gonna respond in a reactive way,
that's
with
well
your
said.
feelings and your emotions, that might not be the best response in the situation. That response might jack your whole life up, right? But when you have to really sit with things, think things through, and think about the best possible approach to resolving the issue, even if it might be uncomfortable for you in the interim, right? That's where I think you begin to see your emotional IQ, because that's the difference between, you could say like the majority of people and the people that actually leverage those skills. Like the majority of people, you know what I'm saying? You get into a fender bender, you pop out, you blowing up. Some people is just like, my insurance can handle it. Like, what's your name? What's your number? Yo, how are you feeling? Are you good? Are you
as
okay?
long as everybody healthy,
Same thing, like you driving with your girl, you know what I'm saying? And I don't know, somehow her phone ends up in your lap and you see a couple text messages to Dom and,
Damn, that's crazy.
Not me, brother. Me, brother.
Yo, and it's like you want to knock the bitch's head off her shoulders, right? But in that moment, you're like, probably should try and communicate through this and figure out, you know what I'm saying, what's going on here?
Yeah.
What you want to do here.
Before I crash out.
Yeah, before I crash out, because crashing out's really going to ultimately leave me to self-destruct.
But that's well said. And basically you describe what a crash out is and what the opposite of a crash out is. Because a crash out is a nigga that or whoever, the crash out is when you don't take that time and you just react.
Yo, a lot of times too, like you find like your peers that don't have a kind of relationship with, you know what I'm saying, their uncles, their grandfathers, fathers. If they don't get that seasoning young in life, they seem more prone to the emotional response.
For sure.
Well, it's the easy way out.
And nobody really nailed it, got it across to them like that's not the route. That is never going to work going that way. Someone, and this is something I always bring up to Dom and a few other people. Whenever we had certain scenarios where like, yo, bro, we should just swung off on these niggas. Like, yo, we should just like shit like that. And then I'll be like, I always tell niggas like when I was growing up, I used to crash out. Cause I think most kids, you just know crash out until someone teaches you otherwise. It's a matter of when you learn it. And then I think in middle school, sometimes I got in like 3 fights in school because someone makes me mad and I feel like, okay, you disrespected me, I can crash out. And I had to learn, like my parents really got it through my head young. Like, bro, every time you crash out, you lose the battle, whatever it is. Like, it doesn't matter.
Black man in America, like,
exactly.
You gotta watch how much you crash out.
That's exactly what they were getting across to me. It's like, because I grew up in the suburbs, so like, sometimes it was a race is something that made me crash out or something else. But so it's justified when I explain it to my parents, but they're like, I'm trying to tell you, it don't matter what you crash out for. It's never going to work for you. So you just got to figure out how to not crash out. So they taught me ways around it to get the energy out to, if I'm mad and I need to punch something, go punch something. Just don't punch the kid. Like, that shit. So like, they taught me that young. And I think that I probably use it once a week, trying not to crash out.
Something I learned probably around the same age is like, just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Yep.
And bro, there's so many times I want to crash out.
Yep.
I used to be so angry, like just like little shit. I don't deal with disrespect well.
Yeah.
Like anytime I feel disrespected, I want to like belittle somebody because I felt belittled.
Look at the culture. You talk about like black men. Look at the culture as a whole. Look at the Young Dolph situation.
Yeah.
That really, this is speculation, stems around a woman. Like, man is not, here's a family man that built the empire from nothing.
Yeah.
Who's not here because somebody's in their feelings because he might have had relations with a baby mother. Like, what?
Yeah.
So you put a hit on somebody? Like, this is what we're talking about. Like,
and this is normal too.
In our community, it's like, it's bizarre to see when you graduate to the perspectives and, you know what I'm saying, that we have, but it's like you said, when it's normalized, you don't have that fish out of water moment until you learn something else.
Yeah, I feel like an example of this, I feel like you can see it in the rap industry, the music industry, things like that, where people might grow up with that mentality and they're known for being crash outs. They hit a certain age, you can look at niggas like Gucci Mane, you can look at Boosie, you can look at like a bunch of niggas that are now older in the rap game. They was crash outs. At some point, they realized, all right, bro, every time I crash out, like, it don't lead to nothing good.
Bro, I lose mad money, mad respect.
I like how you mentioned Gucci too. Perfect example. He also has a mental issue. So he had to change his diet. He was abusing drugs he should have never been on. Drinking, he shouldn't have been drinking. And it cleared his mind. So now he can actually have the mental analysis to be able to deduce like, oh, okay, I probably should be more patient, think this through, apply my analytical reasoning skills, my critical thinking skills. You know what I'm saying? But when you're high, and you shouldn't be high, because what is he, bipolar? What is he?
I think he got a few songs called bipolar.
So. Yeah, like, this nigga's on drugs. It's like, yo, you're bugging. Like, you should, that's why you're crashing out.
Bipolar with a lean addiction and whatever else is it's
tripping
off the wall.
But that's the culture.
Yeah.
That's the culture.
For sure.
What do you think is the most detrimental thing in our culture?
Man, it's got to be.
There's a slew of them.
Yeah, it's a slew, but so we'll generalize. It's got to be family structure, access to education, and then also too, like, quality of food that you're putting in your system.
Sheesh, that's a big one. That's underrated,
bro. Like, what you put in is what comes out. And even if you look at like the entertainment piece, I think the entertainment piece isn't as big of an issue as we like to make it. We just kind of talked about music a bit. Like, music helped me strengthen my posture in the gym with my workouts, right? Like, I think music can be a tool if you use it the right way. Like aggressive music can align with aggression in the form of sports, in the form of training, right? But if you're constantly just sitting around and like listening to certain things, that can be unhealthy. But we don't have enough people in our community, especially like gatekeepers, coming out and positioning it that way, right? It's just like we're constantly getting inundated with the same tired, oh, you know, that's probably one of the problems, it's the music. Well, why are they playing this in the arenas? Because like it pumps you. I'm an ex-athlete, bro. It pumps you up. You just talked about drinking Celsius. You drink a Celsius. But you listen to 3-6 before a workout. It'll pump you up.
It's a double standard for sure. I was talking about music. My boss is white, so a lot of times he's like twice my age. He's an older Italian guy. A lot of times he'll ask me questions about our community, just out of interest. He grew up in North Hollywood, super diverse, but like he doesn't know what a 30-year-old black guy is thinking, right? So we'll have these candid convos, and we talked about music. And I was like, bro, but no one criticizes whatever entertainment is at the top of your list. So like, we're watching fucking Mission Impossible, we're watching Scarface. Like, he's crashing out right now, and you're seeing it in visuals.
I wonder what Christopher Columbus was listening to when he was on his way over here.
Come on, bro. What? But like, this person is rapping about a story that's probably not even his, to be honest. You think that's more detrimental than seeing this man crash through 20 people and shoot everybody?
Again, that's the same perspective we always get it from. It's like we never get it from these alternative viewpoints that, to me, hold a lot of value. You go to the Lakers game during a timeout, they're playing songs for a reason, bro. Yes, like it keeps the athletes locked in, you know what I'm saying, and focused. Like, but you never hear from that perspective. It's just, oh, you know, this music is killing our kids' mindsets, it's poisoning their. It's like, all right, well, you know, maybe.
It's a lot of other things. It's a lot of other things. Like food, I agree.
Yeah.
Food is a big thing. I mean, the older you get, the more you realize, hopefully, that when you eat a certain way, your mindset changes, your energy changes, what you want to do, everything changes. Like, and I still be toying with that when I fall off my diet and I just start eating whatever. I can feel the difference drastically. Like, I'm aware, so like I'll cut out, you know, I'll cut my diet, start eating bad for like 2-3 days, and then I'll be like, see, look at you, skipping the gym. Now the next day you decide to skip, look at you, and I snap out of it. But it's real. Like, it leads to, now you eat bad one night, you wake up, now you miss the gym in the morning.
Don't lie too. Now, next time you get in there, you be like, damn, shit, I was just doing. It's harder today. Why is it harder today? You fucked up on your diet.
You feel, you know, where I feel that is the pull-ups, bro. I always do pull-ups to start my workout. Right, if I fuck up like that, you get on those shits and you're like, damn, I feel heavy as shit. Right? You can really feel that shit. So food definitely is big on
education,
mental.
bro. Education, access to education.
So we have a frat bro like him that actually does something really cool. That I hit him about. I just saw it last week. But he got big on what's it called, meditation, and deep breathing exercises for mental health and things like that. And it's something I've been using and I've seen benefits with. But he has this thing he does now. It's like a Zoom meditation, maybe once a month or once a week. He had like 150 men from around the world on it, all meditating at the same time. I'm like, damn,
that shit was crazy. I was like,
that's fire.
Most black men too.
It was all black men.
I love
I'm like,
shit.
that's fire.
Like,
we spreading the word. Like, we spreading the word. Cause another big thing is, I feel like we, as black men specifically, like, you're not supposed to give a fuck. You're supposed to be able to take anything. You're supposed to be able to, you know what I'm saying, get through anything. And like, we grow up with that mentality. So for us, it's even harder for us to be like, therapy? Like, something wrong with me? Ain't nothing wrong with me. Like, you know what I've been through type of shit. Like, so I think it's very important for us. Someone like the baby, I think, and he said he's gonna start therapy. He did an interview on Breakfast Club. He's like about to start doing therapy because he's a nigga that is the prime example of that. He's had to shoot multiple niggas. He killed niggas in Walmart. He always getting in fights and it feels like he's coming to him. And the way he talks, I'm like, damn, that nigga definitely need therapy. But he seems so confident because he said it himself, like,
He has to be.
I have to be.
Yeah.
Like, I can't, like, there's no,
So he's projecting.
yeah.
For
And he's
sure.
like,
Something that I noticed from the same interview was that every time he like had to do something aggressive, good shit would happen. So it's like, oh, I had to like punch a nigga in Walmart or shoot a nigga in Walmart, and then I was on the BET Awards. It's like, so do those go hand in hand in your
Like,
mental?
in his mind, it's incentivizing him to act retarded.
yeah.
Shit, yeah.
Damn, I can't say the R word no more.
Oh,
We
shit.
need to bring it back though.
Bro, like,
If we're gonna be candid,
these young girls
'Cause
be checking me. They be like, you can't say that no more. I be like, what? I grew up saying that
it
shit.
don't even mean the thing. I'm just like, it's really for the crash out moments. Like, you know what you're supposed to be doing, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excuse
but
my French.
Yeah. Yeah, I think black men definitely have to, I'm glad that we're making it more aware in our community. Because we just talked about it, all the young Dolph, everything. Like it's about time for that. I think Charlamagne does a good job of it too.
Yeah.
As well. So it's definitely dope to see. So tell me, how are you mixing this music with your whole therapy and mental health awareness? How do you mix everything together?
Bro,
the gym, music.
That was that last piece you and I were just kind of alluding to. Like, the hiding in the gym and constantly working out really strengthened my posture, arguably saved my life. And a lot of what I was doing when I was in there was off the strength of, the music that I was playing. And I got a DJ in particular out of South Carolina who, for whatever reason, bro, it's like he curates some of the best mixes I've ever heard. My father was a DJ. I've DJ'd. I'm familiar with like lots of DJ. Everybody you know now is a DJ, right? So it's like everybody's a DJ now.
Tell me about
Bro, this dude is different. Like, he knows how to put the songs together. He understands sequencing. He understands blending. And then, like, we both like the same kind of music. So it's almost like in my mind, I'll be like, play this next in my head. And then this nigga's already playing this song. Or he's playing songs on the B-sides I've never known anybody else to know.
To play in a circumstance.
Yo, and I'm like, I'll text him like, what the fuck? How did you know that? He just starts laughing. So I'll be listening to a lot of his mixes. His name's Cliff.
Okay.
Cliff, the super producer out of South Carolina.
Shout out Cliff.
Yeah. And like, I'm just like, yeah, this is really keeping me upbeat, almost in a weird way, as to the baby analogy. Because to most people outside looking in, especially older folks, they're like, oh, this music is the worst fucking thing that happened to the black community.
Yeah.
And you gotta get away from this. And I'm like, well, maybe we're using it wrong. Maybe we're leveraging it wrong. Right? Like, maybe, just maybe, it's a tool.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. But I want to go back to the beginning of that. You mentioned this thing like 3 times now. You said strengthen my posture. What does that mean?
Bro, posture was weak as hell before I got caught off guard with this shit.
Like your emotional posture?
Yeah, or
like
physically?
Both.
Oh.
Both. Because I think you need to, when things happen, you have to be prepared for things, right? If you're gonna go overseas on a tour, like a war tour, like, you spend a certain amount of time in boot camp, right? Getting your body together, learning how to use a weapon, right? Training, mental warfare, how to endure, right? And persevere if something was to happen. Mine was weak. I was kind of like everybody, doing what everybody did, eating how everybody ate, indulging in the same things that everybody indulges in their pastime. And then emotionally, like, I hadn't read emotional intelligence yet, and I hadn't really thought about therapy from a serious standpoint and possibly needing it because something drastic was going to happen. I'm living my life. Like, everything's honky-dory. So it's not until certain things happen where it's like, okay, if I'm going to make it through, if I'm going to survive, and then not just survive, thrive, I'm going to have to switch this all up. Because if I don't, I'm going to be dead or in jail. Like most people who would experience this situation end up dead or in jail.
Sometimes you got to restore the feeling, Oh,
I love that. Of course. Of course.
You're practicing that. You say that in the mirror every morning or something. Restore the feeling. Restore the feeling. Nah, I like that. Man, what else do I have on the topic? I mean, just overall, I feel like, emotional intelligence, mental health, awareness, therapy, the gym, music, these are all things that work together in this ecosystem. You just gotta learn how to use these tools properly. I've had some dark times as well. Somebody mentioned recently, I think today I heard this, like somebody say this. I don't even know if it was a quote, but basically like he's like the dark times, like they feel dark in the moment because you don't know, there's uncertainty on what's to happen next. You're like, that uncertainty causes anxiousness. You basically say anxiousness is uncertainty. That's where it comes from. So the only way to get past it is through taking that first step, like you mentioned. And he said, basically, once you start taking steps in any direction, then the uncertainty starts to go away because you start to see pathways of the way to get out of whatever situation. And then things started to brighten up every day. But you have to take those steps. And I've been there where like, yo, shit was really dark and grim. And I'm just like in the crib just being dark and grim with no, like, bro, what am I supposed to do? We was just talking about it. Like, it may be Saturday, Sunday, there's no businesses open. You can't really bust a move anyway. So you just dark. But then when you start taking steps, you start getting excited about whatever the possibilities now can be. So that's what I'll say, and I'll touch on that you gotta take the first step, and that's the first step to, getting out of that dark place for sure.
What's next for you, bro?
So speaking of that music piece, Cliff and I are actually working together on a mix called The Tour, which symbolizes kind of me living on the road throughout this entire experience, and encapsulating the workout piece with his music. So it's like we're putting together our own mix and encouraging, you know what I'm saying, people to get active, get healthy. And yeah, like it's supposed to come out Black Friday. Of course, I'll let you guys know.
Please.
I'll send you guys physical copies of it.
Hey,
So we're actually printing up physical copies of it too. So
that's
you know what I'm
fire.
saying. Of course, there'll be a stream link where you could actually listen to it.
Right.
But I like what you just touched on because it's polarity in dark times. All you need is your night vision to be able to see through it, to start taking those steps instead of letting the darkness overwhelm you, you know what I'm saying, and render you kind of still to the point where you become overly anxious, right? Or you begin to self-destruct.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's just brilliant. There's actually a book called Night Vision I recommend people read.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
I
Because,
like
yeah,
that.
I'm gonna write that down.
a lot of times we perceive darkness a certain way. It's got this negative connotation in society, man. And being Black, that shit messes with me.
Yeah.
You know, because you be like, dark is bad.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, come on, man. Like, we're Black. Like, yo, if dark can't be bad. Like,
It's crazy how they did that.
Yeah,
Like, growing
bro.
up in America, they really try to get you with that dark is bad. Like, just make everything black and dark is bad.
some
like,
of the most beautiful experiences come out of the darkness.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When your eyes are closed and you're imagining things, now you're about to pull it out into reality. That shit came out of the dark.
Yeah.
The shit that I went through, it was dark. You know what I'm saying? It shit could have went left. Let's be real. More times than not, the data says this shit's about to go left.
It's very true.
That shit didn't go left at all.
Somebody mentioned there was a woman talking about her experiences. I saw like on like a TED Talk, and it was because of postpartum or something like that. She was like, this miracle that I just made was literally out of darkness. Like when a baby is not able to see, I think that's why it starts crying when it comes out because of the light. And she was like, I have to make it through for this child that came out of the darkness or some shit.
Yeah, nothing against the light. But
I mean,
we Black. Like, hey, stop demonizing and putting a negative connotation on all things dark. Like, that shit is not cool.
No, that's a fact. So yeah, we talked about what you had coming next, but you gotta ask your favorite
Gotta
thing.
ask, bro.
Yeah.
What's a quote you live by?
You can't cut corners and be great.
Can't.
It's impossible.
Write that down.
I'm saying, so every day, every decision you make, whatever it is that you're pursuing, whatever it is you're doing as far as the execution standpoint, it might seem like a lull moment, or it's gonna stall out the process, or it could potentially make something not happen. But if you're gonna do it and do it right, man, you cannot cut corners, bro.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
That's a fact. I agree with that. Yes, sir. So that's our episode, right?
Yeah,
you know what I'm
man.
saying? I feel good. That was Black man therapy on
Felt
camera.
emotional, nigga.
I feel good, relieved.
Yeah.
Like I just, you know what I'm saying? I let some shit off my chest. that's what this is for. So I appreciate you
Facts.
coming.
Appreciate y'all having me.
Yes, sir.
Love, baby.